are the dangers? How can we steer it in a better direction? And I think you put your finger on exactly the right thing. We want a human in the loop precisely because in many of the use cases at the moment, there's a lot of uncertainty. The technology can misfire. But more broadly, I think if you approach AI as an informational tool, it would be most useful if we put it at the service of humans. So if we actually put it at the service of humans, of course humans are going to be in the loop because they are the ones who are using AI.
Yeah, and I think from that human in loop perspective, I've talked to the audience about a couple of examples that I know have scared a lot of folks, especially on the financial side. And I just saw recently where certain banks and the amount of money that they lost in a certain quarter. I'm trying to be very broad and not get myself into any trouble, but it's really concerning to me that as the deep fakes and the number of hacks and the impact on a citizen's livelihood from these financial institutions, they are really treating cyber hacks and that kind of information very differently than they have your traditional credit card fraud that has taken place in the past. And I think that is another area that I get emails all the time about that. That what can I do? How can I get some help? I don't have a great answer for them, and maybe you do. Maybe you'll have a better answer for them. But what can they do?
Well, I mean, I'm not sure that I do have a great answer, but with all technologies, if you want to use them for automation, the degree to which they can become truly autonomous is going to depend on their reliability. Once robots reached a sophistication level that they could actually do the welding tasks, then you didn't need to have a human babysitting them. Today, a lot of things that are related to IT security on your computer happen without you approving each step, because that has a very high level of fidelity. AI is not there yet. It is likely to misfire, give you incorrect answers, or miss certain patterns. And that raises the stakes if you want to use it for security, if you want to actually make sure that it's doing what it's supposed to do. And it increases the reason for having humans in the loop and also the right regulatory approach so that it doesn't completely lead to a meltdown.
Yeah. From your perspective, Darren, do you think? Well, let me put it a little bit different. Where do you think we will be in the next year when it comes to policy? Do you think with constant bickering and the things that are taking place, do you think that we can get there in a time frame that we'll actually get something on paper that'll be meaningful, realistic, something that can be applied that can actually start to stem some of this, these activities that are taking place? Or are we still going to be in the Wild West in, next year?
I'm not super optimistic because right now we just entered the presidential election cycle. So bipartisan bills are much harder today than they were, say, a year ago. And everybody knows the current situation of Congress, where it is very difficult to bring people from the two aisles together. On the other hand, I do see that lawmakers have become much more informed about AI-related things than they were about 5 years ago. And moreover, when I've spoken to people from both parties, I see some similar concerns about manipulation, about what social media is doing, mental health, joblessness, inequality. So it is possible, I believe, to have comprehensive legislation about AI, but I don't think it's going to happen very quickly.
Yeah, that's a concern that I have as well, and I know our audience has the same concern. They're frustrated. They don't know what to do. They're scared at the same time because they're hearing alarmists talk about AI taking over the world, and turning into the Terminator and those kind of things. I try to dispel that as much as I can. and I know you do as well. And it's just really frustrating for folks, and when you don't understand the technology, sometimes you always think the worst, and I think that's where we're at today. And I think we just have to keep pushing forward and try to do the best that we can when it comes to that. I really hope that we get to at least where the European Union is, and they had a great comprehensive document that they put out. It was a first. It's got a long way to go, but at least they had something down on paper that was really strong.
Well, absolutely, this is all correct. And you know why European lawmakers acted and why today American policymakers are more concerned about these issues? Because they keep hearing people's concerns. So the more Americans raise these issues with their representatives, the more likely it is that we get something out of this.
Hmm.
And exactly like you said, people having the right emphasis, the right recognition of what the problems are is central. The two poles of this, either sort of blind techno optimism, everything's going to work out, OpenAI and Google are going to come out with the perfect technologies and we're all going to be amazingly prosperous as a result, or killer robots are coming. Neither of these two poles are helpful. It's somewhere in the middle.
That's right. That's right. And I think
Sorry about my cough.
that's okay. That's okay. And I think that is really the perfect um, way to describe it. It's always somewhere in the middle. But I'll tell you, when you mess with people's money and they're scared about that, that is usually when they get the loudest.
Absolutely.
Yep. So, Darren, what's the easiest way for folks to get a hold of you if they have any other questions?
Uh, I think email or Twitter would be best.
And I know you have a lot of things that are coming out. I see a couple of things a week on some new articles, some new interviews that you do. So I really encourage folks. The easiest thing to do is put Darren's name in Google, and you'll get notifications on when you can read some of his stuff or see new material that's coming out there. I really hope everybody does that. Darren, thank you again for being here. Great discussion, and I know we'll have more conversations about this as we move forward and people get more mad. I think that's when it's going to be interesting to see. So for our audience, thank you for being here this week. I hope you learned something. I hope you're excited. I hope it gets you fired up a little bit. I'm fired up. I'm tired of having my identity stolen. I know you all are too. Look forward to having a discussion with you next week. We'll have another great topic and another great panel of guests. So thank you, and have a wonderful, wonderful week. Thanks.
Thanks, Alan.
This has been a Now Media Networks feature presentation. All rights reserved.
Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome back to Legal Talk. I am John Mitchell. I'm the host of the show, and boy, oh boy, I am excited to have everybody out there in the audience looking at watching the show. And, it's a community, right? It's a community. I'm so pleased and happy to have people out there tuning in and watching. And, hopefully I'm providing a valuable service and providing an opportunity for people to kind of learn and expand the knowledge base a little bit out there. We're not all attorneys, thank God, right? It's the reason why Shakespeare said, first kill all the attorneys, right? That's not legal advice, right? That's not any kind of advice. Don't be coming after the attorneys now. But, Shakespeare did write that, and there's a reason why, right? But I hope that we can expand some knowledge out there and get everybody on the same page and kind of provide a good and valuable service to everybody out there. Now, I'm no expert in Chinese proverbs, but I'm told, right? I'm told that there is a Chinese proverb, and it's kind of like a tongue-in-cheek thing, right? They say, "May you live in interesting times," and the subtext of that is they are really saying interesting times is not really a good thing. They don't really want you to live in interesting times. All right, because interesting times means things are up in the air, things are tumultuous. There's uncertainty in the air, and so that's kind of a bad thing, right? Well, we are right now, right here and right now. Forget China. We're here in the U.S., right? And we have seasons of the year, and I'm not talking about spring and fall and winter and summer, right? I'm talking about different times of the year when different things happen, right? And I would say to you, to us attorneys, tis the season. Doesn't mean Christmas around the corner, right? Although, gifts, I give you my address, gifts are accepted. But, it is the season, and by tis the season, I mean the season when the United States Supreme Court issues a bunch of rulings, right? So you always want to keep an eye on that, because in case you didn't know this or hadn't thought about it, the Supreme Court is the maximum legal authority in the judicial branch of the country, right? So it's the highest court. They even call it, sometimes they call the high court, right? And so when the Supreme Court issues a decision, well, the other lower courts that are further down on the ladder, they have to pay attention to that. And that is a thing in Latin. I'm going to break out the Latin, right? I'm going to break out the Latin on you. It's called stare decisis. And basically, stare decisis just means that whatever the higher court says, the lower courts are bound by it, right? So right now there has been several really good Supreme Court decisions come out, good or bad. I mean, it depends on your point of view, I guess. But what I'm talking really about here, the important thing that I want to say is that they're very important decisions that have come out. And one of the big ones that just came out, in fact, as I record this opinion from the Supreme Court was just issued yesterday. Now, put a sticky note and pause. And I just remind everybody, I'm a tax lawyer, right? I specialize in taxes, but I didn't go to just tax law school. I went to regular law school. So, we can talk about other legal things. And I think people are going to be interested in that, right? So we've been promising this for a few weeks now. And finally, I've put together some material, and we can go ahead and go on and talk about interesting other topics, other legal topics that are not tax related, right? So unsticky note that and continue with one of the important cases that the Supreme Court just decided yesterday, Trump versus United States, and we're talking about presidential immunity, right? Now, we all know what a president is. Just back up to civics class in case you want to, know about this. So there's three branches of government. So there's the executive branch, the judicial, and the legislative, right? President is the head of the executive branch, right? Executive branch, what do? They execute. So Congress makes laws and president executes on those laws, and then the courts are there to interpret the law and, settle disputes, so to speak, right? So that's the way government works. Now, the lawsuit that Trump had filed is all about presidential immunity. We're not going to go into all of this in depth because this would take hours, but basically the argument is that the president of the United States should have, on the one hand, one extreme they say should have absolute total immunity. Anything you do goes, right? And so first of all, what is immunity, right? So you got a couple of different kinds of legal immunity, right? You got your civil immunity and you got your criminal immunity. So civil immunity means that basically you cannot be civilly sued. Nobody can file a lawsuit against you for what you did, right? And there's cases of civil immunity, and in fact, I'll talk about one of those cases here in a minute. And the other kind of immunity is the criminal kind. So when you've got immunity from criminal immunity, that means that you cannot be charged, you cannot be processed in a criminal context for whatever it is that you did. And so there's an argument, right, about that. Where do you cut that off, right? Where's the right point to give immunity to a president, and where is it? Because you can't have absolute immunity. You can't have the president literally shooting somebody, whip out a gun and shoot somebody. I don't like the look of that guy. I'm going to whip out a gun and shoot him, right? So you can't do that. So neither civil nor criminal immunity, by the way, is expressly granted anywhere in the Constitution or in federal statutes, right? So you cannot look in the Constitution or look in the federal law and say, oh, I'm going to find the immunity provisions, right? I'm going to find the immunity clause in the Constitution. You can't do that, right? It's not there. It's kind of what sometimes we would call implied, right? Out of necessity, right? So the Supreme Court of the United States, way back long time ago, I'm thinking, what was that, back in the 60s or 70s? It's been many decades ago, President Nixon. So there was a case called Nixon v. Fitzgerald, and that's where the Supreme Court held that the president has civil immunity for acts that he does while in office, right? So that's civil actions regarding conduct that's up to the outer perimeter of his duties. So here's the important thing, an important distinction, right? So a president, if you're the president of the United States, well, you got official duties, things that you have to do as president, like give commands to the military. You have to make those hard decisions and say, drop those bombs or fire those missiles or whatever, right? But that's not the only thing a president does. A president's not 24/7 acting as a president. The president has a life outside of being president. He walks the dog, right? He does things as a private, personal individual. And so what the Supreme Court in the Fitzgerald case did is they decided whatever the president does as a part of his job duties, right? That's going to be immune from civil cases, right? But now we go into the criminal. And so if you want to look this up, by the way, it's Trump v. United States, and the case number of that is 23-939. And basically what the court has ruled now is that presidents are presumed to be shielded from prosecution. So they've got also the criminal immunity, but that's also only up to and including official acts, right? So whatever you do as president, you ordered the troops to go in and take a city, well, they can't come back and sue you for that now, right? So and the basis behind that is we don't want the president to be second guessing and saying, oh my God, well, I really believe this next thing I'm about to do is good for the country, but God, if I do it when I get out of office, I might get prosecuted for it. So you don't want that in the back of his mind. You want the president to be free to be able to make his decisions and not be worried that someday he's going to be criminally charged for the thing that he did. And so there's going to be a lot more to this as time goes on, because this is a brand new, hot off the presses. Smell that, it's fresh out of the oven, right? It's a brand new decision from criminal immunity for the president. And so that is the new law of the land that had never been completely decided, that had not been ruled on by the Supreme Court before. And so that's a brand new thing. And so now, knock on wood, over the next several years and decades, they're going to maybe be honing in on that and kind of drawing the distinction. Where are those fine lines at, right? So anyway, this is a very important case that the Supreme Court just cited. And, everybody out there, let me know. Write me an email. I can be reached at jmitchell@cctaxlaw.com, or you can call me up if you got tax matters you want me to take care of for you, 713-333-0555. And we are going to go real quickly to a commercial break, and we will be right back with more legal talk. Stay with us.
Are you nearly maxed out on your credit cards? It doesn't matter if you're using your credit cards for fun or to survive. At the end of the month, your statements come in, and you can either pay them or you can't. If you can't, late fees and interest rates get tacked on. And now you're struggling just to make the minimum payment due. Do you feel trapped? Am I talking to you? Good, because I personally researched some companies that can help you. They may be able to reduce your credit card balances by 50% and stop the late fees. If you qualify, please call our special debt hotline number right now for a complimentary free 5-minute consultation. Deal with your credit card problem now before it gets much worse and put more money back in your pocket. Trust me, I've been there too. Call right now.
Call 855-993-2096 right now. That's 855-993-2096.
How would you like to go on a 5-star vacation for just $99? We're talking about the quality of a Westgate resort for $99. Not for one night, but for 3 fantastic nights at one of their luxurious destinations across the United States. And you'll even get a free $100 Visa gift card just for making a reservation. We've got some of the choicest destinations that you'll love in the United States that you can choose from for just $99 for a 3-night stay. Take your family, take a special loved one, but get away. Go on vacation with Westgate Resorts. Call now to make a reservation for just $99, and you get a free $100 Visa gift card. Call Westgate right now and book your vacation. Here's the number.
Call 877-930-3491. That's 877-930-3491. Again, 877-930-3491.
Do you have diabetes? If you have insurance, you may qualify for a new continuous glucose monitor. With a CGM, you can continuously track your levels and trends, spend more time in range, significantly lower your A1C, and share important data with loved ones and caregivers. Most importantly, a CGM eliminates the one thing most people with diabetes hate: painful finger sticks. Take charge of your health. Order your new continuous glucose monitor today. If you use insulin and have seen your diabetes care provider within the last 6 months, you may qualify for a CGM today. We'll do all the insurance paperwork and deliver your new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost to you. Medicare and most insurances cover continuous glucose monitors, so don't wait. Have your insurance handy and call the CGM Health Hotline now.
Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome back to Legal Talk. I am the host of your show, John Mill, as you already know, and thank you so much, everybody, for being with us out there. Welcome back from that big commercial break. Oh my goodness, I am hoping that everybody got a chance to get up, stretch your legs, get the hot or cold beverage of your choice, be it adult beverage or PG beverage or whatever it may be. And hopefully you can, get comfortable for this next segment, because I got a real treat for everybody. It is always my pleasure to welcome my good friend Ryan Kahn, who is a consultant extraordinaire, and he helps, lawyers get kind of geared up with their law practices. Just a great overall guy and got some good information for us. So, Ryan, welcome back to the show.
John, thank you for having me back. It's always a pleasure, my good friend.
Yes, sir. Hey, listen, let me just jump right in. So we were talking a little bit about strategic planning, and we were talking about growth for law firms. And so I had, this question came up. So what might be some essential components of a strategic plan for a law firm?
Love it. That's a question I actually get fairly often, not only in the legal realm, but just entrepreneurs and businesses all over. And what I always tell people, in order for you to develop a strategic plan, you must first have a vision. So you need to establish the vision of yourself, of your firm, and that is really simply put, where do you want to be when you grow up, right? And you can look at those goals. You can set it as, I want to be $1 million or $5 million firm, or I want to be serving in these niche arenas only or specializing in that certain area, and you can develop your vision. Once you have a vision, then you can get kind of into that strategic plan. And the strategic plan has to encompass at least a handful of things. At the very high level, you have to learn to delegate. Learning to delegate is a very difficult thing for a lot of business owners. And I find a lot of people in the financial realm, accountants, attorneys, even wealth planners and advisors, they seem to have a little bit more of an issue learning to delegate and letting go, taking their hands off the steering wheel and letting the autonomous vehicle drive itself. So generally, I deal with people that are either owners of their own law firm or at least have risen through the ranks to become partner. So we know at that point, walking in the door, that their work ethic is very strong. It's admirable. But that work ethic alone is not going to allow you to just fully achieve your vision. So learning to delegate is very important. And in an action plan, you need to assess your time. What are the things that I can hand off? If somebody else can do this job 70, 80% as well as I do, from me handing it off to them, you need to identify that task or that role and you need to hand it off. And eventually, with just a little bit of reps and training, they'll do that job 100% as well as you can, possibly even better. And you're going to free up more and more time to work on those higher billable, more valuable components of running a firm. So that's probably the first thing I would attack after the vision is learning to delegate and identifying those areas. Creating efficient systems is another great way to do it. Now, the systems can be actual software or a CRM that helps you communicate back and forth with your clients, or it could just be a workflow model. I usually start with job responsibilities when creating efficient systems and say, what is everybody supposed to be showing up and doing? Let's literally put it on paper. Let's identify as many bullet points as necessary, even if there's some overlap in the roles, and let's spew it all out onto the paper and start divvying it up with roles and responsibilities, and then ultimately people's names getting assigned to those roles. If we know what everyone's responsible for and we know the path that the work product is supposed to go A to Z, the path that the client is supposed to follow, those efficient systems are really going to help us strategically grow because, again, efficiency and effectiveness of the delivery of the services are going to be the goal. That's where we start, is with the workflow. The next part is hiring. And sometimes we struggle just to find the right people, whether we're trying to hire credentialed attorneys or we're looking at law students and paralegals and interns. Sometimes you just need administrators or marketing people, but hiring is a timing issue just as much as it is a personality or a pedigree issue. So hiring when the timing is right is what I like to really coach people on. And the timing can be felt or sometimes monitored. You can feel your workflow bubbling up. You're starting to get overburdened. You're working 40, 50, 60 hours a week when maybe you're trying to set a goal of only working 40. I know, shocking, that sounds pretty difficult. But if you get to that boiling point, you should be looking to hire right now, or as you realize you're getting to that, and you can use that through tracking the numbers, tracking billable hours, and looking at the workload of each of your employees. So hiring when the time is right is important, and the time is usually right before you think it is. So we do some analysis on that. And as far as kind of that hiring conversation goes, another really good strategy, especially with modern technology, modern time, and modern client expectations, is outsource what you can. If you can't hire for it directly, outsource it. As long as it's ethical and it's available, outsource that work product and let it funnel to you. And doing that is also kind of leading to my next point of using technology. If you can use technology as part of your plan, whether it's AI assistance, whether it's just automated email reminders and calendars, or a project manager inside your office that passes task and project and project on to the next person, the use of technology is a drastic tool that can help you grow very efficiently, very fast. And then probably your last strategy that I'm really going to hit on today is investing in type of marketing and branding. A lot of attorneys that I've worked with, and I've worked with a good handful and dozens, are very much, I want to say, cookie cutter. They have the same website, and they offer the same set of services. And then they don't stand out by branding their client interactions or branding what they specialize in or why they're just a little different from their competition. So getting a branding and marketing strategy would be the last step that I would go for.
Well, I mean, that is excellent. I hope everybody out there is as thirsty as I was today. Good thing to come thirsty to the table because we feel like we're drinking out of a fire hose here. That's a lot of excellent information. We really do appreciate it. Now, one of the things I heard you say is words to the effect of begin with the end in mind. So you got to have a vision, right? That vision, you know, to get to that vision, you got to have some goals. So that really leads me into my next question for you. How can a law firm set what would be a realistic and achievable growth goals?
That's really good. One thing I want to caution people on here is a natural human condition. Most people overestimate what they can do in 6 months to a year. They overestimate. They say, I'm going to get all these things done. But we usually see a really quick caveat to that would be like, look at people's New Year's resolutions, right? They overestimate that. But people drastically underestimate what they can do in 3 and 5 and 10 years. And so when we start setting our growth goals, we need to set both the shorter, more accessible, low hanging fruit goals that we can easily achieve to keep our steps moving forward. And then we need to put more challenging steps at the 2, 3, 5, 10-year mark of our growth goals. And one of the ways to do that is you can say, hey, if I'm a $1 million firm, let's use easy numbers, I want to be a $1.2 million firm by the end of the year. And then you work backwards. Say, I'm going to do that by maybe you're going to cull the herd a little bit. You're going to get some maybe recurring clients that you always struggle to get them to pay the bill, or if they have to pay things up front, they have to provide services. They just are really demanding, or they don't give you what you need. They cancel meetings. You might have to call the herd in order to create growth and create opportunity for a better, more valuable client. Someone that is going to come to the meeting, somebody that is going to not argue about the bill, they see your value and they do that. And if you can just get the time saving and the swap out of those people, those goals are really good. Most people can do the 10-80-10. Some people just call it the 80-20 rule. It's the same thing. Sit down and identify your top 10% of your clients, the ones that you never have to worry about. They're great clients. You represent them well. They're on nice, healthy retainers. They appreciate your value. And then your business is probably really run off of that 80%. The people that are your stock average run of the mill client and they pay the bills, they do things. But then it comes to that bottom 10%. These are the painful ones. That 10% is probably consuming 80% of your time, yet they're only generating 10% of the bills. Go physically write those names down. Talk to your staff members, talk to your partners. Who are the clients that are sucking the life out of our company? And one of the first achievable growth goals I tell people to set is to actually cut some clients in order to make room for the better clients. And then you're going to profile those clients. You're going to have an examination, everybody that walks across the street, but they're going to meet your service style. They're going to see your value, and they're going to cooperate and comply with your needs in order to best serve them. That's where I would start with strategic growth.
Man, oh man, that is not the first time I've heard that, you know, cull the herd. So you got to get rid of the, it's the 80-20 principle, get rid of that, 20% that's causing 80% of your headaches. And now once you've done that, okay, so last question for you. This is going to be a tricky one. So last question. So once you've done that and you've gotten rid of your not so productive clients and you got your, kind of focusing on the wheat, not the chaff, right? So what kind of strategies can a law practice then use to start to expand their client base? What do you recommend for that?
Gotcha. So I like to tell people to do both the organic and the strategic corporate model. And the organic one is literally ask people for referrals. Hey, did I represent you well? Hey, if you have any, let's say you're doing corporate and you're helping buy sell agreements and you're doing a lot of corporate work, say, hey, do you have any of your buddies that I can call that need work like this? And then don't just rely on them to go out and tell their friends. Ask them for the contact, ask them for the information. Hey, Johnny told me to call you. He said you might need my services. So some of that organic growth is going to be a great way to do it because you're getting that personal touch, that personal referral. Another way to grow your business is to proactively reach out to your existing clients. set a quarterly or bi-monthly email that just says, hey, checking in on you. How are you? What's going on with life? How are things going? More casual, and it can be automated. And when they see that, they know their attorney or their firm is thinking about them. And they say, oh, by the way, I need to call him. I need to get this written up. Oh, I need to ask him these questions. And you're going to develop contracts and engagements and billable hours from that. One of the growth strategies as well is make sure that people, when they walk in your office, this is a really cool growth strategy, know that it is a client-focused firm. It is a client-focused firm. They come in there and they say, wow, I am what is important. They are here to serve me, and move ego off of the table and understand that you're here to serve them. Now you have your boundaries, you have your expectations, and you have your ethical and legal things that you must comply with, but it still does need to be client-focused ultimately. It's not just a transaction at a grocery store when you're buying something and moving on. And I think that's really important. And then the last one I would really say is adapt to the new opportunities. So one of the firms that I worked with really enjoyed and wanted to kind of specialize in criminal defense. And they went into criminal defense, but they were open to all venues and they did some corporate work. Well, within 1 year, they had 40 people inquire about their corporate services, writing contracts, doing buy-sell agreements and things like that. Even though in their mind, they said, hey, I want to kind of force myself down the criminal path. They said, I'm going to maintain adaptability to these opportunities. And out of those 40 clients that contacted them, they were able to pick up just over 30. I think it's 31 or 32 of those engagements. And they expanded by almost $800,000 on the year. Not all from those engagements, but much of it from that. And so if you just maintain adaptability, keep your head on a swivel, you might get into a realm where you just stumble into, by your chance to take opportunity, an $800,000 growth in just 1 year.
Excellent. Oh my God. So let me just, we're about to the end of our segment. So let me just ask you this one thing. So if people want to get those good results that you can help them get, how do they go ahead and get in contact with you, sir?
Probably the best way to get a hold of me would be phone call or website. It's csbizcon.com. It's at the bottom of the screen. That's csbizcon.com. Or the phone number to our office is 270-442-6688. And we share that phone number with the accounting firm that I run as well. So you just ask for the accounting firm or CS Business Consulting, and you'll get us at both places. And you can also
that is so excellent. I hope that people, definitely pick up the phone and call or go online and get that wheel set in motion. So thanks very much, Ryan, for being with us. We really appreciate it. And we are going to go to some quick commercial breaks, and we will be right back.
Do you have a car sitting around you want to get rid of? Well, here's a great idea. Donate your car now to help local veterans in your area. Yes, just make one fast call to the Veteran Car Donation Program. Within a few days, we'll come and remove your car for free. You can donate any car in any condition. We'll use our vast network to sell it. The proceeds raised go to help local veterans and their families. And you get a tax deduction. And all you need to do is make this free call. Clean your yard up, get rid of an old car, and help the vets. We make it easy. Make this free call now. Book your fast and easy pickup. Call the Veteran Car Donation Program now.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare or private insurance, you can see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline to see if you qualify for a CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome back to Legal Talk. I am so happy to have everybody, here, out there in the audience. So glad that you stayed with us through that nice little commercial break. Stretch your legs, got something to drink, whatever it may be. Maybe a snack even, perhaps out there. So I'm so happy, like I said, to have everybody overflowing with joy, in fact. And so next thing I've got now, look, I've been talking about this for weeks, right? Saying that we're going to do this. And I've been trying to do some more general purpose, general interest legal topics, right? And I ran across this article that was in the Daily Mail recently, about just a couple of weeks back. I thought it was kind of interesting because it turns out that the writer for the Daily Mail, and you can Google this and find it on the Daily Mail. Turns out that our beloved package delivery company, FedEx, right, Federal Express, it turns out that they have struck a deal and they will be installing cameras on a lot of their trucks. Now, I don't know about the rest of you guys out there, but me, I cannot barely get out into these mean streets and drive around a little bit without seeing several FedEx delivery trucks out there. And so one of the things that has happened, there is this company called Flock Technologies, right? And Flock, F-L-O-C-K, is a company that provides, shall we say, driver's license, what do you call it, cameras, right? Well, they do cameras and they capture your license plates, right? And so one of the things that they do is they'll set up these cameras in the entrance and exits to shopping centers. So let's say there's a shopping center that has a high crime rate and they so they put up these cameras at the entrances and exits. And these cameras, what they do, they're infused with artificial intelligence. God help us. I mean, everything's got AI in it these days. I'm waiting for them to come out with an AI toilet, right? So God knows that's probably coming. But so these cameras are programmed. They're connected with computers, and they've got artificial intelligence. And what they do is they snap a quick picture at the entrance and exit of a property. Let's say that's one use case, right? So you got a shopping center. There's been some high crime statistics going on there, and so what this Flock cameras will do is they will snap a picture of the license plate of every car that's coming in or going out of that shopping mall or shopping center, whatever it is, and they keep a database of that, right? And so of course the police have wanted to tie into that, and the police have said, well, look, you got all this data that you're capturing, that could be useful for us to, and so the shopping center will not just turn over certain bits of data that the cops need to, to solve a crime. They just give the police unfettered access to the database so that they can just tap into it anytime they want to, right? Now, when I hear about stuff like that, the first thing that comes to my mind is I think about, well, we have in the United States this idea that the government can't just carry out mass surveillance on us. I know, yeah, maybe that's a good thought or not, right? But in any event, we have the Fourth Amendment that says that we should be free from unreasonable searches and seizures. So the idea being that the government can't just surveil you all the time just to wait and see if you might someday commit a crime, right? And they've got it on tape or whatever, right? You're supposed to be free from unreasonable searches and seizures. But the problem here is that and by the way, there has been case law, right? 1990, 2000, recent case law as far as police wanting to set up drag nets, right? So say, oh, well, they can't say this whole neighborhood has a high crime rate. We're going to post police officers at the entrance and exits of the neighborhood, and we're going to stop everybody that's coming through the neighborhood, right? So there can be drag nets, but they have to be done in such a way that there's a minimal impact on people about people just going about their business, right? It can't be overextended, right? So let's say if we saw this, like think about the Boston Marathon bombing. Somebody just set off a bomb in this area. So yeah, in that case, they can set up, a perimeter around that area and check people as they come and go because they're after a very specific, person or people, right? Somebody that committed this heinous crime, right? So they can set up a dragnet temporarily for that limited purpose, right? But they can't just set up general drag nets. The government can't, right? And so that's one thing. But then when we talk about, so that's the physical presence of the police, like in an area. Think about another thing though. What about your data? Supreme Court recently ruled that that police are not able to just willy-nilly access they can't just go to AT&T or go to T-Mobile or Verizon and ask for all of your cell records or all the cell records of everybody in a certain area. The Supreme Court has ruled that that's an overstep. They need a warrant for that, right? They need to be able to describe, particularly, they're looking for your cell phone information because they have other information, probable cause, reasonable suspicion. They think that you have been involved in some kind of criminal activity, so they can come after your cell phone data, right? So that's the way, that has been working. Now, there's a thing in the law called the third-party doctrine. And the third-party doctrine is basically this, right? If the government can access data that you've already provided to third parties, right? Then you don't have a reasonable expectation of privacy in that data, and so they can access that. So let's say you sign up for some sweepstakes and you fill out one of those little entrance forms and you give all that information to some company, right? Well, that company, they can then sell that data to data brokers as long as that's within the thing that you signed and authorized, right? You freely gave up that information. Well, now data brokers can put together all that information. They can collate it, they can tag it, and now they know an awful lot about you, right? And so they can sell that to the police, and the police can buy that. And that is kind of an end run, right? It works its way around the Fourth Amendment. So the courts have ruled you freely give up information to another party, and then the police are able to access that, they pay for access, then that's not a violation of the Fourth Amendment. And so probably unless some specific legislation were to come along, my take on this is that this is probably going to be legal. So what's happened basically, FedEx has entered into an agreement with Flock. They're going to put these license plate cameras on their trucks. I don't know this for sure, as I haven't dug into it, but I mean, probably, I would guess FedEx is probably being somehow compensated for this. All right, so they put these cameras on their trucks, and as their trucks are driving around town, doing their routes, making their deliveries, and we're talking thousands and thousands of trucks. I mean, God only knows, I don't even know how many trucks FedEx operates in their fleet. But if they put cameras on all those trucks and capture this driver license, not driver license, but the plate information from your car, so they're capturing all of this, putting it in a database, and now the police are going to be able to access that. But that's only half of it. They're also going to be able, there's going to be an ability for the police to say, well, they're a person of interest, right? License plate number ABC123. We're interested in, talking to that person. We think that there's investigative purposes, whatever. They're going to be able to input that into the system, and this artificial intelligence is going to enable these cameras to be able to pick up. So let's say the police have put into the system that they're looking for this certain license plate. And then when the FedEx truck passes you on the road, bing, there you go, it hits and it alerts the police that the license plate they're looking for is at a certain place at a certain time. Now, you can argue that there's, plenty of good about that. Police help the police solve crimes, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not going to, enter into all of that here and now today, especially since our segment's almost over. But just FYI, because somebody asked me recently, hey, this FedEx thing, is that legal? Can they do that, right? What about the Fourth Amendment? Well, Fourth Amendment, is not all encompassing. And if you freely drive around the city with your license plate showing, which you have to have your plate showing, then it's probably legal. I don't think there's a Fourth Amendment problem with it, but probably it's going to be litigated, and we'll find out if that take is real or not. But technology marches on, and we just can't really put the genie back in the bottle at this point. But there you go, folks. So FedEx is in the business with this Flock, the Flock security company, and they are snapping pictures of license plates as they drive around doing their delivery routes, and they're going to share that information with the police. And my take on it, it's probably not a Fourth Amendment violation. So there you go. I am a tax attorney, John Mitchell, here in beautiful Houston, Texas. And if you have any legal question, but especially tax questions, that's going to be my forte. So you can, you can reach me. I've got a brand new website that I've just got to put up, 99-taxhelp.com. And I've got a new phone number, 1-800-99-TAX-HELP. So, just dial that number, or better yet, send me an email. Forgot to put my email, but it's very, very easy, right? attorneymitchell@pm.me. That's going to be my email. But you got my website, you got my 800 number there. Give me a call if you have topics for the show as well. Love to hear from the audience out there. So again, John Mitchell, Legal Talk. Happy to have you out there. Thanks very much. We're going to go to another quick break, and we will be right back, so stick with us.
Do you have a car sitting around you want to get rid of? Well, here's a great idea. Donate your car now to help local veterans in your area. Yes, just make one fast call to the Veteran Car Donation Program. Within a few days, we'll come and remove your car for free. You can donate any car in any condition. We'll use our vast network to sell it. The proceeds raised go to help local veterans and their families. And you get a tax deduction. And all you need to do is make this free call. Clean your yard up, get rid of an old car, and help the vets. We make it easy. Make this free call now. Book your fast and easy pickup. Call the Veteran Car Donation Program now.
Taking a trip in the next 12 months? Airlines are under tremendous pressure, and they're practically giving away their unsold seats. Like every crisis, this one will end too. But right now is the best time to take advantage of giveaway ticket prices on their unsold seats. We're not allowed to publish these low fares online. The only way to get these rock bottom giveaway prices is to call. So phone low-cost airlines now for airline ticket prices you may never see again.
If you're on supplemental oxygen, heavy and awkward tanks can be a burden. Now you can leave home and leave the tanks behind with Inogen, portable oxygen therapy that moves with you.
With my Inogen, now I'm able to do the things that I've always loved. I just press the button here, and there's my oxygen.
Inogen systems are so small and light, you're free to leave the house without the hassles of an oxygen tank.
I could play golf again. I could go grocery shopping. I'm free again.
With the Inogen, I can handle my own oxygen. I can carry my own oxygen. I go anywhere with this. Look how small it is.
And right now, you can try an Inogen portable oxygen system for 30 days risk-free. Call us right now. If you qualify, we'll send you an Inogen system to use for 30 days risk-free. Your insurance may even cover your new Inogen system.
If you're on oxygen, you need to be using an Inogen.
Call 800-367-1753. That's 800-367-1753.
Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome back to Legal Talk. Man, oh man, you've stuck with us this long. I really appreciate it. Happy to have the audience out there. My name is John Mitchell. I'm the host of the show, and this is our last segment. So buckle up for it. I got some great information for you. Now, as you know, I am here in the beautiful city of Houston, Texas. I'm a tax attorney. I didn't go to just tax law school. I went to regular law school so I can answer other topics. But my forte, my main gig is taxes, right? And so I do have a tax topic to talk about today. And our tax topic is this, right? There is a thing called a Form 1099-K, letter K, K like kilo, right? So you got a 1099-K. What are you going to say to me, John? Don't bore me with all this tax stuff. What's a 1099-K anyway? I'm going to tell you this. There is a whole regime in our tax system where people report things, right? So they report things to you. They report things to the IRS. One of the things that gets reported that everybody's really familiar with is a W-2 form. So you know that at the end of the year you get a W-2 from your employer, and that W-2 form is a summary of all the money that you made during the year, plus a summary of all the money that they took out for federal taxes, state taxes, for whatever kind of tax they took out, Social Security, Medicare, whatever they took out of your check. So that is the summary. It should match up to your final pay stub usually, right? And so that is what is known as a reporting document. But that's not the only reporting document, because if you guys think about it, you also get a 1098 at the end of the year, right? That is your mortgage interest, and it usually shows property taxes and stuff that you've paid, right? So you get that, and another one is a 1099. Now, people might not know the 1099 by its name, but if I tell you that at the end of the year, you get a form that shows you how much interest you got from the savings account at your bank. So you're going to recognize that. You're going to say, oh yeah, I get this funny little form. It shows how much money, I have $1 million in the bank and they paid me a $12 worth of interest, and I remember getting that little form, right? So you get the form, you give it to the tax guy, and the tax guy types it in the computer, and you pay your tax at the end of the year, right? So that is a 1099 INT. INT stands for interest. So you got lots of different kinds of 1099s. There's a MISC, there's a INT, there's a DIV for dividends, all kind of 1099 forms. Now, what is a 1099-K? What pray tell might the K stand for? Well, 1099-K is a form that you get if you are, let's say, a business owner that takes credit cards, right? At my law firm, I get a 1099-K at the end of the year for all of the folks that paid me with credit cards, right? And the 1099-K has on it the total that I received in credit card payments throughout the year, and it's going to show how many transactions I got, and then it's going to have a breakdown month by month. So how much money did I get from credit cards in January, February, April, all throughout the end of the year, right? So that's gonna be on my 1099-K. And so what happened was, up until now, payment processing companies have not been obligated to give you a 1099K unless you did $20,000 worth of transactions in the year and 200 transactions. So you have to jump over both of those hurdles for the company to send you a 1099K, right? That is up until up until recently. Now, recently legislation was passed. That flurry of legislation that Congress got done when the pandemic hit. Well, one of those laws included a new provision that now the IRS is going to be requiring payment processing companies to go ahead and issue you a 1099K if you got over $600 in transactions during the year, and there's no minimum limit of transactions. Or I guess if I'm really being technical, I'd say the minimum limit is one, right? So if you got at least one credit card transaction during the year, and it was over $600, boom, you're going to get a form like this. Now, why might that cause problems?